Hello, this is Zach Title reporting for duty this week. A little late, admittedly. I've been under the weather. Still am, actually, but you got to do what you got to do. So I'm here in the Toronto Reference Library in a study pod. I hope the acoustics aren't that bad. Certainly the camera angle is not great, but it's the best I can do. I decided this week that I would do something a little different because I'm going to offer up a radical change text review. And I figured, given what we learned about this week with radical change texts and the pedagogy of radical change, it would kind of make sense to do something different than write about it. So I'm going to try to keep this pretty succinct and on point, but I'm going to attempt here to review the book, but through a little video clip or video review with a little bit of editing incorporated. And I think that will make sense given the type of book that I'm reviewing this week. The book that I am reviewing this week, the book in question, is Chopsticks. At this point, ideally, you're seeing a image of the cover on your screen. I think I should have been able to figure out how to make that work. Chopsticks was written by Jessica Anthony, and it was originally published in 2012. And it was heralded at the time as being a game-changing book. I don't know if it actually changed the game. I haven't really seen many other books like this book out there, which maybe would be the definition of game-changing, right? That if it actually, we saw lots of other texts like this being produced, but it certainly is novel, and it definitely fits the description and the definitions that are offered in this week's Radical Change reading for a Radical Change text. Quickly, before we get into the Radical Change aspects of it, just the general plot synopsis. All right, a brief synopsis of Chopsticks. I'm going to quote here from a Goodreads summary provided by the Goodreads user Razorbill. Name notwithstanding, it's actually a pretty decent summary and better than one that I could provide, I think. And I will try to visually narrate the summary with some images from the book. So here we go. After her mother dies, Glory Fleming retreats into herself and her music. Her single father, Victor Fleming, raised her as a piano prodigy with a rigid schedule and the goal of playing sold-out shows across the globe. Now, as a teenager, Glory has disappeared. As we flash back to the events leading up to her disappearance, we see a girl on the precipice of disaster. Brilliant and lonely, Glory is drawn to an artistic new boy, Francisco Mendoza, who she knows as Frank, who happens to move in next door. The farther she falls, the deeper she spirals into madness. Before long, Glory is unable to play anything but the song Chopsticks. But nothing is what it seems, and Glory's reality is not reality at all. In this stunningly moving novel told in photographs, pictures, and words, it's up to the reader to decide what is real, what is imagined, and what has been madness all along. So there you have it. There's the plot synopsis of Chopsticks provided to us by Razorbill. Again, a curious name, but I think they did a pretty good job with their summary. Before we get into the radical change aspects of the text, I think it's important to note that the text, after reading it, I was definitely very intrigued by it. It would provide a wealth of analysis and interpretation, or invite a wealth of analysis and interpretation within your classes, various English classes. You could use it, honestly, in my opinion, in both an applied and academic context, and you could use the text in any of the grades from 9 to 12 within a high school setting. It really is a text that appeals to teenagers in terms of relevancy. The topics and issues that are dealt with inside of the text are relevant to young adults and burgeoning adolescents. And I think that the unique nature of the text, the way that that it is kind of sequenced or non-sequentially arranged, and in addition, the way that it incorporates elements of the world outside of the printed page is something that our students would be very, very interested in grappling with. And so I think that's a nice way to kind of segue into what are those elements, what are those radical change elements and aspects of the text. So I'm going to take us through the three major kind of pillars of radical change as they were presented to us, and we're going to kind of dive further into the text through those three radical change lenses.